Do you know anybody that makes a lot more money than you do? I've met a couple of these people, and one thing that I've noticed about them is they tend to be a lot more generous with their money than most people are. I would tend to assume that most of these guys and gals only became generous after they became wealthy. But actually, after getting to know some of these people, they almost always would emphasize how important it was that they started giving before they were even financially stable. There is something special that happens in our finances when we commit to giving away a portion of our income first. And this is why step one of my family's financial journey was to give away at least 10% of our income automatically. Now, you might be saying that you don't make enough money to be giving it away, but my wife and I were only making $27,000 combined when we got married in 2020. Now, this step doesn't seem quite rational, but not skipping this step might be the best financial decision that you ever make. Living on $27,000 a year was a little tough, and maybe some of you even are living on less than that right now. But even though my family had a low income, we luckily were never completely broke. And in fact, in that first year of our marriage, my wife and I were able to save $2,000 to $3,000. So how on earth did we do that? Well, we mostly did it by controlling our two largest expenses, which were housing and transportation. We had a little 600 square foot apartment that cost us only $900 a month, and for transportation, we shared a 2006 Toyota Tacoma, which also had low insurance and low registration costs because it was so old. Had our rent been only $200 or $300 higher, we wouldn't have been able to save any money that year. And this is actually a really good point to bring up because I've found that most people will scrape and scrape and scrape and put in so much effort on little expenses like groceries or going out to eat, but they could take that same effort and put it towards downsizing their car or finding a cheaper place to live, and that effort would go so much farther. And listen to this. Because my wife and I were able to get our housing costs and transportation costs down, we were still able to go out to eat once in a while and even go on a very nice summer vacation. And we were making only $27,000 per year. And that was step two of our financial journey, which is to live on less than you make, even when you're broke. Because if you have a spending problem, you're always going to be spending more money than you make. And as your income goes up, you're going to stay broke because you'll never have learned how to handle your money. On the other hand, like my wife and I learned, by living on less than you make, you're going to be able to save a ton of money when your income does finally go up. Let me tell you, it's a pretty good feeling when you finally get a raise and you get to watch your bank account grow and at the same time spend even more money than you ever have before. The next steps that I'm going to share with you are built off the back of those first two steps. So if you don't take away anything else from that video and you just do those first two steps, you eventually are going to become more wealthy than 99% of other people. But when it comes to some of the more tactical things you can do with your money to save quicker, one of the best things you can do is take advantage of any employer 401k or retirement account matches. For most jobs, they have a retirement account where you're able to put away a certain percentage, usually 3 to 6% of your paycheck, and your employer will match that. And so you're going to get 100% return on the money that you put away in that retirement account. If you don't have this benefit available at your job, feel free to skip to the next step. And my wife and I did not have this benefit up until recently either. But this is step 3 in my family's financial journey, which is to take advantage of any 401k matches. Another big factor in my family's finances was the lucky purchase of our first home. It was lucky in the sense that we were able to get a great interest rate on a pretty good home price. But for you, buying a house is a great way to gain control of your rent, as rents tend to creep up over time and your mortgage is going to stay the same until you pay it off. And for example, that $900 apartment that my wife and I used to rent now rents for $1,200 just a couple years later. And that's why step 4 is to purchase your living space. If you want to see more details around buying a house, check out this video in the link above. After you purchase your home or condo, you're going to want to start putting away a little more money for retirement. That's why step 5 is to put away any money that you don't need until retirement into a Roth IRA. It might not feel like a significant amount of money at first, but it really adds up. For example, if you were to save $150 per month from the age of 25 to 60 years old, at the average stock market returns, you would have $500,000 at age 60. So these are the steps that my wife and I took to get to where we are today. Fortunately, my wife and I no longer just make $27,000 a year because I was able to learn some data analytics skills. But have you ever been unhappy with how much money you've made? I sure have, and that's why I made another video that's just for you. Click on it here.